Okay, so make sure you get the note sheet from the teachers so that you can take these notes about absolute value equations. So we're going to start right here. This should be on the top of your paper. Absolute value, the definition, it is the distance from zero. So it's how far away something is from zero. So if I look at a number line, and I'll do like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll put my negative values in. So absolute value, if you were talking about absolute value, it's two lines, two vertical lines. So the absolute value of 4, so if I go to 4, how far is 4 from 0? So I start at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the absolute value of 4 is 4. The absolute value of negative 3. So I use my vertical bars again, that means absolute value. These lines do. So the absolute value of negative 3, here's negative 3, 1, 2, 3. It's 3 away from 0, so it equals 3. The absolute value of negative 5. So I start at negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So absolute value is the distance from 0. So I can do a whole bunch. I could do the absolute value of 10 is 10. The absolute value of negative 20 is positive 20. It's just how far away it is from 0. And what we're going to do in algebra, because we like to talk about equations, is we're going to look at equations like this. So if I have the absolute value of x is equal to 3, that means the distance from 0 to 3. So here's 0, 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So that means if I start at 0, I can go a distance of 3. So I can go 1, 2, 3. So there's one answer. And I can go 1, 2, 3. That's my other answer. So this equation has two answers, negative 3 and 3. So let's try another one. How about the absolute value of x equals 2? So of x equals 2. So the distance from 0, so here's 0, and I'm going to go 2. 1, 2. So here's one of my answers. My other answer is 2 the other direction, because if I start at 0 and I go to the left, 1, 2, so it's going to be negative 2. So my answer is negative 2, and we have the absolute value of x plus 1 is equal to 2. So this one's going to be a little bit different. That means normally I'm at 0, okay, but this isn't 0, so I got to do the opposite of this to make it 0. So the opposite of plus 1 is negative 1. So really, my new starting point is right here, because the opposite of this is negative 1. And what I'm going to do then is, from there, from this spot right here, now I'm going to go 2 to the right, 1, 2. That's a 1. And I'm going to go 2 to the left, 1, 2, so this one. So that's a negative 3. So that time my answer is 1 and negative 3. So let's try another one. What if I have the absolute value of x minus 2 is equal to 1? So then I'm not going to start at 0 this time. I got to start at the opposite of minus 2 to get 0. So the opposite of minus 2 would be plus 2. So there's 2. I'm just going to fill in a couple numbers here. So this is where I'm starting. Now according to this, I want to go a distance of 1. So a distance of 1 puts me right here. So one of my answers is 3. And then I have to go a distance of 1 to the other side. And that answer would be positive 1. So my answers are 1 and 3. We'll try one more. Let's just say we want the absolute value of x minus 3 is equal to 2. So the opposite of minus 3 is positive 3. So that's where I want to start. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 1. So I'm starting here. And I'm going to go 2 to the right, which puts me at 5 for one answer, and then 2 to the left, which gives me 1 for my other answer. Okay, so it's a little bit different, but let's give it a try. So now go back down into your notes. We're going to go to where it says if you're given a graph. So you should be looking for this in your notes. Write an equation if you see the graph. So we're going to just start with an easy one. I'm just going to put in 0, 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. So I'm going to put a point here at 2 and at -2. So to write your equation, the first thing you'd have to do is find the middle. Okay, so the middle of my 2 points, so I have a point here and a point here. The middle is 0. So you would have just the absolute value of x, since the middle is 0, equals, how far away are each of these? 2. Okay, so let me try another one. Let's say that here's 0. Let's say this is 5, and this one is -5. And I put a point here and a point here. What number's in the middle? 0, so that means it's just x in the absolute value equal. How far are each of these away? These are 5 away. Now let's try a different one. Let's say that I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I have a point at 6 and a point at, let's say, at 2. Okay, so now what point is in the middle? 4 is in the middle of those. So it's going to be the absolute value of x, and we have to do the opposite of this. So it's going to be -4 equals, now how far away is this middle right here from this point? It's 2 away. Okay, we'll try one more. Let's say that we have -3, -2, -1, 0, 1. And let's say that I have a point here and a point here. So in the middle of these 2 points is -2. So I'm going to have x plus 2 inside, because I have to do the opposite, equals, what is the distance from the middle to the point? The distance is 1. Okay, so that's another thing you have to do. And now we're going to move on to the back of your note page, and we're going to just do some algebra, because being able to do the algebra will help you as well. So it's not with the graph, it's just with the algebra to start with. All right, so let's say we have this. The absolute value of x plus 1 is equal to 9. So let me show you how you do this with algebra, because we've been getting 2 answers, so I want to get 2 answers here. So you make 2 different equations. The first one you just copy. X plus 1 equals 9. The second one, you copy the inside. X plus 1 equals, you have to take the opposite of 9. So it's -9. And then you solve. -1, -1. So x equals 8. And then you do -1, -1. So x equals -10. So those are my 2 answers. Okay, so you would, if you were going to graph, you would have like -10 and 8. Here's your 2 points. You know that the number in the middle would be 1 in the middle there. Let's try another one. Let's try like 3x is equal to 6. So the absolute value of 3x is equal to 6. So I need 2 equations. 3x equals 6. That's just copied. The other one is 3x equals, and now we use the opposite of 6, -6. So this one we divide by 3. So x equals 2. That's one of my answers. This one we divide by 3. So x equals -2. So like you had 0 and 2 and -2, and those are your answers. Okay, we'll try another one. We'll try the absolute value of 2x plus 1 is equal to 7. So I get 2x plus 1 is equal to 7. That's going to be one of my answers. And my other answer is going to come by finding 2x plus 1 is equal to negative 7. So I solve. 2x is equal to 6. X equals 3. That's one answer. This one, I get 2x equals negative 8. So x equals negative 4. So my two answers are 3 and negative 4. So what you need to remember is the second equation, you have to change this to the opposite because absolute value can go to the right or the left because it's the distance from 0. So what if you have this? What if you have the absolute value of 2x plus 6 equals 8? So now this one, before you solve, you need to get the absolute value all by itself. So you're going to change this. You're going to do minus 6 first. So you'd get 2x equals 2. The absolute value of 2x equals 2. Now you can make your two equations. So 2x equals 2. 2x equals negative 2. So I get a positive 1 and a negative 1. All right, let's try one more like that.